you don't exist. Take a perk and a talk of that shit. Money swallowed like sis. Dead up perfect in the kid. Got a billion who sang on my head. Look up and better put on the road I just spent. I know we got $1 million. The devil that shit ain't not cheaper again.
Hello and welcome back, fellow anime lovers, to MangaMuse. I am delighted to have you join us once again in the world of fanfiction and fantasy. This is the third part of What If Naruto Meets Deadpool. Special note, this fanfic is written in a masterpiece of AngelFallenDemon on FANFICTIONnet. Do check and support the author too. Now smash the like, share and subscribe button for more. Also press the bell icon so that you never miss such great parts. Thanks for the introduction. Now let's dive into the world. That evening after Lee had training with his team, Team Guy had followed Lee home. To their shock, it was the old Senju estate. "Lee, what are we doing here at Lady Tsunade's home?" asked Guy as he looked down at his student. Lee looked up and smiled. "This is my home. I am Lee Rock Uzumaki Namikaze Senju. Naruto is my sister. We had grown close during our time away and became a family. No, Sakura is my girlfriend, not my sister." For before anyone asks or says anything, he told them as they walked past the gate and up the steps as Lee opened the door to be met by the twins. "Lee Niai-san!" the girls yelled as they ran over and hugged their nephew big brother. Sakura walked into the hallway leading to the living room and saw Lee was home and he had brought his teammates. "Naruto Ni-chan, Lee-kun is home and his teammates are here," yelled Sakura though the house. Naruto and Hinata, along with Shikamaru, came out of the kitchen. "I'm glad everyone has made it. Dinner will be ready shortly. We are just waiting on Tsunade Ba-chan and Irojiji to get back," said Naruto as she and Hinata vanished back into the kitchen. Shikamaru just sighed. "Follow us to the living room and the girls will be back with some tea," said the lazy teen as he walked into a large room to his left. In the room sat some strangely dressed people. Team Guy studied the newcomers as they entered the living room. A man dressed in all blue stood up and walked over to Team Guy. "Hello, I am Steve Rogers," he told them as he held his right hand out to Guy. "I have been one of Lee's many teachers," he told them. Guy smiled and took Steve's hand. "It is a pleasure to meet one of my students' youthful senseis," said Guy as he looked over to the others. "Tell me, in what youthful skill did you teach Lee in?" he asked as he grinned. Steve stood there for a moment and began to think. "Well, I taught him hand-to-hand fighting, to ride a motorcycle, rock climbing without the use of what you call chakra, marksmanship with handguns, rifles, that's just to man a few," he told Guy. Guy gave him a blank look. "Motorcycle? Handguns? Rifles?" he asked. Guy-sensei guns are a common weapon used where they are from, as well motorcycles are one of the ways they get around besides walking or going by horseback or wagon or carriage," explained Lee. Just then Naruto and Hinata returned with tea and mead. "Here, Uncle Thor, here's your mead," said Naruto as she handed him a very large mug. She turned to Guy. "Would you like some mead or tea?" she asked. "What is mead?" asked Guy with a little bit of a confused look. "Aw, it is the drink of the gods themselves. All warriors drink it in Asgard but for Lee," said Thor as he eyed the teen. "Then I will try this youthful drink," said Guy as he took one of the large mugs Naruto handed him of mead. He took a large drink and his eyes shot open wide and put the mug down coughing. "This stuff packs more of a punch than sake." Everyone looked at him and laughed. That is one of the reasons Lee is not allowed any more mead. While in Asgard the warriors three gave some to Lee, and needless to say, it looked like a hurricane had gone through the Great Hall, said Sakura. "Yeah, it appears he is a MSTR of Drunken Fist. We allow him to carry a bottle with him, only as a last resort if he is in trouble and needs to fight his way out and needs a little extra kick," said Naruto as she handed Lee a cup of tea. "Yeah, I guess I am too troublesome when I have a little to drink," said Lee. Guy looked over at the others and smiled. "I would like to thank you all for what you have done for each of these kids," he told them. "It was nothing. Naruto is family and the others have become family during their time with us," said Thor. "May I ask how she is family to you?" asked Guy to Thor. "When Kushina was just a young girl, she found her way to Asgard and was adopted by my parents and trained to fight with the Valkyries to be a grand warrior. As my sister, she became a princess in Asgard and was seen as a goddess by the mortals that worshipped the Norse gods. Naruto I'd also a princess by BRTH and holds noble stands back home," said Thor as he smiled. "Yeah, Mom was the baby, was she even put the fear of Odin into Uncle Loki," said Naruto as she finished handing out the tea and some Scottish to Tony. "Too bad Uncle Loki couldn't come with. But he does need to face his punishment for the trouble he had made." She frowned as she said that. "I am Thor, the god of thunder and prince of Asgard. I was also one of their teachers. I worked with them with hand-to-hand combat and wrestling, sword fighting, archery, warhammer, horseback riding and fighting from horseback, tracking," said Thor. Sitting next to Steve was Tony, and he smiled at the strangely dressed man. "I thought some of the heroes and villains dressed funny," thought Tony. He stood up and walked over to Guy. "I am Tony Stark, also known as Iron Man. I taught them engineering, business, design, weapons development and design, car racing. Though Lee and Sakura both get car sick after a few times around the racecourse. Also had each of them build and create their own iron suit that works best with their abilities. But they are only to use them as last resorts," said Tony as he looked at his nieces and nephews. "Isn't that right, kids? We don't want a repeat of what happened in New York again, do we?" he asked, as they all turned away sheepishly from him. "I also showed them how to build this mini arc reactor that you see glowing right here in my chest," he told Guy. "What does that thing do?" asked Guy as he looked at the glowing object in the man's chest. "It helps keep shrapnel fragments from going into my heart," said Tony as he took another drink. Guy and the others of Team 10 looked on with shock. "Couldn't Lady Tsunade remove the pieces with her medical jutsu?" asked Tenton. Tony looked at the girl and smiled softly. "She has tried and has only been able to remove only a few pieces. I am grateful for what she has done, but it will take more time to remove the rest," he told the girl. Next to speak up was Natasha. "I am Natasha and I trained them in assassination, stunt, escape, stealth, how to break into places, undercover work," she told them. "My code name is Black Widow," she added. She pushed her long red hair over her shoulder and winked at Guy, which made the green beast blush. "I am Bruce Banner. I am a gamma radiation scientist and researcher. Due to an accident, I am also known as the Hulk. I trained them in science, anger management, tactical skills, design, some medical," he told them. "Yeah, Uncle Bruce turns into a giant green beast when he is angry, and no one likes it when he is angry," said Lee. This led his team to raise an eyebrow to this. "I am known as the appealing green beast of the Konoha," said Guy with pride. Everyone just smiled and laughed a little. Clint was watching the others like a hawk. He slowly stood and introduced himself. "I am Clint, also known as Hawkeye. I trained them in archery, tracking, stealth, planning, and thinking under pressure," he told them, as he slowly moved back to his spot in the living room. The last one to speak up, which did shock the others, was Deadpool. "I am Deadpool, the merc with a mouth, also known as Wade Wilson. I taught these kids how to be mercenaries, hitmen for hire, assassins, all types of weapons. Mostly swords, for those are my favorite tools to use. How to fly anything to drive anything. Stealth, hacking, tracking, fighting and some shady things. Drinking games, poker and strip poker, also to talk their way out of anything. Along with how to kidnap someone. Spidey wasn't happy with us for the whole month," he told them as he laughed his assistant off. This made Guy turn to Lee. "Is that true?" "That is a very unyouthful thing to do, Lee," said Guy with shock written all over his face. "Yeah, it's true. But as ninjas, these are things we do need to know, no matter how troublesome they may seem to be," said Shikamaru. "Yeah, it took Peter Nissan to forgive us on kidnapping him from school, home, and at work. He really hated the little dart guns we built for you, never heard the thing go off until you felt the prick of the dart," said Hinata. Neji glared at his cousin. "Hinata-sama, it appears you have lost your stutter," he told her. Hinata smiled at him. "Yes, I have, Neji Niai-san. I have changed a lot while I was gone. Maybe sometime you like to train with us," she told him with a soft smile. "HN, why would I want to waste my time training with losers? I have other things to do. Besides, the elders are still angry with your father for sending you away. They have been pushing for your sister to become heiress. They see you as weak and unfit for the title, said Neji with a growl. My little pale eyes, if you want I could take out those elders for you and kick his assistant for you. I'm sure Logansport wouldn't mind helping me. Heck, even Spidey would help kick their butt, said Deadpool as he hugged Hinata. No, Uncle Wade, I'll handle this, and you don't have to drag Uncle Logan here nor Peter Nyai-san. They have things they need to be doing besides coming here and fighting with some old people, said Hinata as she closed her eyes and sighed. It is going to take a lot more to get him to open up to me. The elders are old fools that father is dealing with, she thought to herself. Just then Tsunade and Jiraiya walked through the door. Girls, have you already began dinner? She asked as she looked into the living room to see everyone. Naruto, Hinata, and Sakura run into the kitchen to help Shizune finish making dinner. It's almost ready, Ba-chan, yelled Naruto from the kitchen. Good, said Tsunade as she walked into the living room to see everyone. Hey boss lady, when do I take my test for Jonin? Asked Deadpool as he grinned at Tsunade as she was holding onto Jiraiya's ear. Jiraiya had tears streaming down his cheeks. No more research, I promise, cried the large man. Your DMN right, no more research. What if the twins would have saw you, or worse the kids were in that bathhouse, you old prev? She growled at him. Just hearing that made Jiraiya pale and turn a sickly green color. He had never thought of it that way. I wasn't thinking, he told his wife as she let go of him. Tsunade turned to Deadpool. Well, Wade, with the little show you put on today, you have passed your test, she told him as she threw a leaf headband at him. Wear it with pride, and if you're going to do something stupid, wear one of the other headbands you stole from other ninjas from the other villages you visited with Jiraiya, she told him with a smirk. Hey, I thought we agreed no one would hear about that. When I get my henge down, I was going to go and raise hell dressed as those ninjas. So far I have gotten the henge of that one ninja with silver hair that wears his headband protector over his eyes, said Deadpool. Guy looked at Deadpool. You're telling me you have gone around henge as my youthful reveal Kakashi? He asked. Yup, and you have done some still challenges with me as well, Deadpool told him with a grin. Guy's jaw just hung open with shock. Your henge was that good I couldn't even see thought them. That is scary, Guy told him. Shizune came out of the kitchen. All right everyone, dinner is ready. It's nothing fancy, she told them as they followed her to the kitchen where the girls had set a large table for everyone to eat at. Ba-chan, I broke the dining room table. I'm sorry, cried Naruto as she walked up to Tsunade. Tsunade looked at the girl with a raised eyebrow. Would you care to tell me how you did that? She asked the blonde. She looked down at her feet and back up to her grandma. I was roughhousing with the twins and I lost focus on my character and fell from the ceiling onto the table, she told her. With a heavy sigh, Tsunade looked at her granddaughter and smiled. You're not hurt? She asked the girl. Not really. Just a little sore from falling, that's all, Naruto told her. Then don't worry about it. I didn't like the table anyways. Jiraiya picked it out. Always hated how it looked, said Tsunade as she winked at Naruto. The girl smiled and hugged her grandmother. Hey now, I like that table, said Jiraiya, as he glared at the two blondes in his life. I'm sorry, Orochimaru, said Naruto, giving him her puppy eyes no jutsu. He sighed knowing full well he wasn't going to win, and during the past few years Naruto and the twins had become pros with that look that all he could ever do was hug them and hand over his wallet. Kit, you need to be more careful. If you didn't have me, I'm sure you would have broken your body or have died from that fall, said Kurama in her head. I'm sorry, Kurama. I was having fun racing the twins and hearing that strange sound from the china cabinet made me lose focus. By the way, what was that sound? She asked the demon fox in her. It sounded like a camera going off, said Kurama. This made Naruto stiffen and pale a little. She had a serious look on her face as she looked at both her grandparents. Tsunade and Jiraiya shared a look and asked Naruto what was wrong. Tell me what's wrong, said Tsunade. Naruto pulled them close to her and she whispered. What made me fall was the sound of a camera coming from the china cabinet, she told them. Jiraiya took on a dark and strong look as he walked into the dining room and acted like he was going to get some plates from the cabinet. Dear, how many plates do you think you need? he asked his wide as he moved some things around and found 3 cameras and 8 listening tags in the cabinet. Out of nowhere, seal tags appeared in Jiraiya's hands that would send a loud noise over the listening tags to the listener and make them go deaf for day. This way they can find out who in the council was listening in on them. He took the 3 cameras and smashed them in his hands. He walked back into the kitchen and looked at Tsunade. Tomorrow call a council meeting. We are going to find out who was spying on us. I have already destroyed the listening tags and the 3 cameras I found. But after dinner I'm going to be slapping seals all around the house to find in others that had been placed in here while we have been gone. He told everyone. They just nodded and Naruto shot to her feet. Can I help Orochimaru? She asked him. The night went quietly after they had found and destroyed all the seals in the house, and dinner went nicely as Guy began to bond with Deadpool. Naruto wanted to beat Neji up and Tenten was in shock to be in the same room, let alone having dinner with her hero Tsunade. Lady Tsunade? Said Tenten as she looked at the older blonde. Yes, Tenten, asked Tsunade. I was wondering if I could study under you. She asked, a little scared that she would be told no. Tsunade looked the girl over and smiled. If you want to learn medical jutsu, I will train you, and if you want to learn my style of fighting, be ready for long and heal-less sessions. She told the girl. If I'm ready for anything, Guy-sensei has ran us though the ringer several times, and I'm still shocked I can walk after our teen training, said Tenten with pride. She was a true kunoichi and not one of those foolish fangirls. After everyone said their good nights, Shikamaru walked Hinata home before going home himself. He hadn't cared for Neji's behavior and only felt better if he knew her got his friend sister home safe. Naruto and Sakura got the twins ready for bed, then went to their rooms. Naruto changed and crawled into bed, just looking up at the ceiling. Will I be on a team with my family, or will they put me on another team? This raced through her mind as she drifted off to sleep. Elsewhere, the remaining spies for Root had been found out by Anbu and had been taken to Ibiki and Anko. For the seals Jiraiya and Naruto used made a very loud sound and wouldn't stop until one of their seals was placed over it. About 30 different spies had been found, some from Iwa, Kumo, and Kiri. The Root spies though tried killing themselves without success and had been jailed with the others. Ibiki looked at his workload for the next day and sighed. It's going to be a long day, he said with a sigh as Anko came walking in with coffee and breakfast. She knew this would put her boss in a better mood, that he would let her play with a few of their new prisoners. The sun was rising over the Konoha as ninjas and villagers alike slowly began to raise for a new day. At the Senju house one could hear 2 teenage girls crying about 5 more minutes, with twin girls giggling and then screams. Ryoko and Kyoko had dumped icy cold water on both of the girls to get them out of bed. Deadpool had supplied the water for them. All right ladies, it's time to get up. You still have your morning workout to do, and then breakfast, and then team placement, said Deadpool as he was dressed as a general. Both girls glared kunai at him. Slowly they both out of bed and gathered their clothes and went and changed and ran outside to the family private training field. They had began their morning with 50 laps around the field as they saw Lee running on his hands. It was already 8 a.m. and Thor was calling the kids inside. Come on you guys, it is time to eat, he shouted. When they came inside there was a breakfast fit for a Viking. Wow, Uncle Thor, this looks great, said all 3 in unison. Thank you, Shizune, help along with Natasha. They told me you needed more than just meat and said some fruit would be something health for you all as you're still growing, said Thor. He didn't think what he made was unhealthy, but it was a traditional warrior diet from back home. The kids sat down and ate. Naruto had eaten twice her weight in food, and everyone looked at her and wondered where it all went. Sakura got in trouble for trying to say she was on a diet and just wanted to eat a little. Lee tried to eat as much as Naruto, but at last he couldn't and was just happened to have a good breakfast before his long day ahead of him. When they finished they ran upstairs and took their showers and got dressed for the day. Both Naruto and Sakura had stolen the green jumpsuit Guy gave Lee and asked Deadpool to kill the outfit. When Lee was out of the shower and couldn't find his outfit, he went and grabbed his camo green cargo brief with black leg warmers weights and a black fishnet armor with a camp shirt and black combat boots. He got dressed and wrapped his hands in black wrappings and put some gel in his hair and spiked it. Before coming back home, Steve had taken Lee to get a haircut. His hair was shaved in the back, with it being about 2 and 1.5 inches long so he could spike. He had left Shikamaru alone, for the boy grew his hair out and wore it in a ponytail. Lee walked downstairs to find the twins sitting on the counter holding a lunchbox for him. "Here, Lee, Niai-san, seal in a scroll and get going before you're late," said the twins in unison. "Thank you, girls," as he sealed it and put the scroll in his cargo pocket and took off for training ground 10. Naruto had put on a black battle skirt with armor leggings and top with a burnt orange top with black jacket and her black combat boots. Her hair in twin pigtails braided into loops. She walked downstairs with her kunai pouch in hand and her other pouch already hooked to her belt. She had burnt orange wrap in her hand as she sat at the table and looked at the twins. "So did he wear something normal?" asked Naruto as she wrapped her hands and then a wrap around right thigh and strapped her pouch on. Sakura came down wearing a red battle skirt with black leggings and black armor shirt with a red top. She had red wrapping tape in hand as she finished putting on her black combat boots. Her hair was in a waterfall braid. She wrapped her hands and a wrap on her left thigh and looked up at the twins. "Did he wear normal cloths?" she asked them. "Yes, he did, and we gave him his lunch lime how mommy told us to. Also, we have your lunch here as well," said the twins unison. Both girls smiled. "Thank Kami," they both said. "Girls, every time you see him with that green thing, Guy Sensei gives him burn it or have Uncle Wade take it out," said Naruto. The twins grinned and pulled out another green spandex jumpsuit. "Like this one?" they asked in unison. Both girls blinked looking at the twins. "Where did that come from?" asked Sakura a little shocked. They looked at each other and laughed. "Guy gave him two. The second one was to be a backup for the first one," said Ryoko as Kyoko threw the other jumpsuit into the trash after cutting holes into it. Naruto shook her head and looked over at the clock. It was already 9:30 and they had 30 minutes to make it to the academy. "We better go or we'll be late," said Naruto as they heard knocking at the front door. Ryoko ran over to the door, opening it, and there stood Hinata and Shikamaru. "Morning, guys. They're coming. We them busy for a minute as we destroyed Lee's creepy jumpsuit," she told them. The two teens before her shuddered at the thought of that green nightmare. Naruto and Sakura came walking up behind Ryoko with Kyoko and Deadpool Fallow in behind them. "Let's go," said Naruto. Ryoko jumped onto Naruto's back as Kyoko did the same to Shikamaru. "Uncle Wade is babysitting and he is to go and meet your guys' senseis, so we get to go as well and meet our future teacher Uruka," said Kyoko as Ryoko giggled. "Sorry guys. It wasn't my plan to babysit. Ask our dear writer for that," said Deadpool as he grinned and began walking towards the academy. The others just looked at him and shook their heads. They all could agree he was not playing with a full deck half the time, and other times it was less than a half of a deck. Hokage office. "Sensei, our home was bugged, and if it wasn't for Naruto destroying the dining room table, we would have never known this was going on," said Tsunade as she slammed her fist into the desk before her. The poor old wooden legs creaked from the pressure of the hit. "Now, Tsunade, please don't destroy my office. Once you take over, be my guest, do what you want to it. Till then, please take it easy on my old desk," said Sarutobi, as he rubbed a hand over his forehead. He had spent half the night in the T&I building looking over all the spies they had caught. "I'm getting too old for this SHT," as he groaned looking at the large cup of coffee before him. He was half tempted to pour some sake into it. But with them having a meeting in the next 15 minutes, it would do not good going in all tipsy. Tsunade glared at him as if she had read his mind and was daring him to try it. Slowly his hand went from under the desk to his coffee and he took a drink. Jiraiya sat in the corner smirking. With his wife's wrath on someone else, for the moment he could get some writing done or work on a few seals Naruto had been bugging him about. Academy classroom. Naruto walked in with her little aunt on her back as Shikamaru carried her other aunt. The twins looked around the classroom at the other kids in it. They both began to laugh as they saw the fangirls all shirking about some ugly emo boy. They both looked at each other and nodded their heads. "Ryoko," said Kyoko. "Yes, Kyoko," asked Ryoko. "Do you see something odd in here?" asked Kyoko. A mischievous grin played across the twins' lips as they eyed Sasuke. "Yes, all those girls there are worthless fangirls, and the boy they are throwing themselves at only likes boys," said Ryoko. With the group of fangirls hearing what the twins said, they turned to face the group who had walked in. A girl with orange hair stepped forth. "Who insults our precious Sasuke-kun?" said the girl as she glares at the newcomers. Ryoko and Kyoko both jump down and stand before the girl. "We do," said the twin in unison as they glared back at the girl before them. "You little brats, I'm going to beat you to a BLD stain," the girl roared. "I would second think that statement," said Ryoko. "You do not want to face our nieces or nephew, and you really don't want to deal with our uncle," said Kyoko. The girl reached out to grab Ryoko as a black-gloved hand covered the girl's hand. "Would you like to dance?" asked Deadpool as he pulled the girl to him. "I would say you shouldn't threaten the next Hokage twin daughters, as well you shouldn't do it when they have family in the room as well as 3 Anbu shadowing them orangy," said Deadpool as the 3 Anbu appeared and grabbed the girl. "Bye, bye," said the twins as the girl vanished with one of their Anbu guards. The others stepped back and went and sat down as Uruko walked into the classroom. "Good morning, class. I would like to say I am very proud of each and every one of you. You are now ninja of Konoha, and now you show the ninja world that you are ready to go out and defend out home. But being a ninja isn't all fun and games. There are much darker sided to the ninja world that I hope you all will never have to face. But I will now read off the teams," said Uruka as the twins looked at the scare-faced man down below. Team 7, Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze Senju, Sakura Uzumaki Namikaze Senju, and Sasuke Uchida, and your senses will be Kakashi. Team 8, Hinata Hyuga, Shinoburam, Kiba Inuzuka, and your senses will be Kurenai. Team 9 is still in rotation, so Team 10, Shikamaru Nara, Chaoji Akamichi, Ino Yamanaka, and your senses will be Asuma. Your sense will be here shortly to pick you up. All the fangirls glared kunai into Naruto and Sakura when they saw those two would be on their Sasuke's team. Naruto and Sakura looked at each other and sighed. "Just our luck. I was hoping to get either Shikamaru or Hinata as our teammate," said Naruto as she looked at the brooding Imo a few desks down from her and her sister. "I know. But what can we do?" asked Sakura. Ino walked up to the two girls and smiled. "You two are lucky to have a hottie like him on your team," she told the two girls. "No, I would say it is bad luck," said Naruto as she watched the other groups leave with their senseis. Ino looked at her in shock. "But Sasuke is the rookie of the year. Also, he is the last of the Uchidas and super rich," said the girl, as she looked at Sasuke all dreamy-like. "So, we are the last of our clan, and we are rich as well, from Iro Jiji Ika Paradise, and then the Senju fortune, the Uzumaki and Namikaze fortune as well. So we are more of a catch than he is," said Naruto as she looked away. This made all the other clan heirs drop their jaws to what the blonde girl had said. Sasuke looked over at the two new girls. "So, they are wealthy and strong kunoichis. Maybe they will be strong enough to help revive my clan as two breeders," thought Sasuke to himself as he watched them. Naruto saw the way he was looking at her and Sakura and glared at him. "Anyways, Sakura is spoken for, and I don't like emos. What was my last count on emos I beat up Sakura?" she asked the girl next to her. Sakura smiled. "That would be 49. You need one more to make 50, she told her. Everyone left looked from Naruto to Sasuke. Naruto began to grin as she looked at him. "Well, I could get number 50 before any of the other senseis show up," she said as she slowly began to stand, and Ino looked on with shock. There were two girls that wanted nothing to do with the last Uchida. Sasuke slowly began to stand, and he was getting ready to fight the girl when the classroom door opened, and there stood 3 people. A woman with long black curly hair with crimson eyes, a man with black hair and beard and black eyes with a cigarette hanging from his lips, and the next was a man with silver hair that defied gravity and a single gray eye. They all looked at their students as they watched the tall blonde standing on the desk looking down at the last Uchida. "Hey Blondie, don't kill your teammate," said Kakashi as he looked at the two. "Team 7 meet me on the roof," he told them and vanished in a swirl of leaves. Naruto and Sakurai grinned at each other vanished. Naruto vanished in a golden shimmer and Sakurai vanished in pink flowers petals, leaving Sasuke to glare at where the girls stood and ran out of the classroom and up the stairs to the roof. The girls appeared on the roof next to the silver hair man as they saw Deadpool, and the girls walked up the side of the building as Sasuke came though the door breathed. as he watched the other three came over from the side. "Good you're all here," he told them as he sat down. The twins ran over to Naruto and Sakura and jumped onto their laps as the two older girls sat down and Deadpool walked up and stood behind the four girls and Sasuke glared at the group as he took a seat next to the blonde girl. "Naruto-chan, are you really going to be this MO here?" asked Ryoko as she grinned at her niece. Naruto looked down at her auntie and smiled. "Well, right now we need to find out what our new sensei has to tell us, and maybe after our first team meeting or tomorrow during our team test," she told her little auntie. Sasuke scoffed as he crossed his arms around his chest and began to brood once more. This made Kakashi raise an eyebrow at the sight before him. This was a little more fun to watch than read his orange little book. Across the village in the Hokage Tower, a shiver ran down the spine of a perverted Sannin. "That was odd, something must have happened to one of my books or something," he thought to himself. "How about we introduce ourselves?" said Kakashi as I smiled at everything. Kakashi looked at Naruto. "What's your name, Blondie?" he asked. "All right, I'll go first then. My name is Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze Senju. I love my grandparents and my little aunties and my sisters and brother and best friends and my uncle behind us and our other uncles and aunties. I also love my parents and forgive my father for what he did over 15 years ago. I understand. I dislike emo pricks and people who judge the scroll and kunai inside of the scroll. My hobbies are training, trying new and different Roman and learning different jutsus. My dreams of the future is to maybe become Hokage or a Sannin like my grandparents or both. Like they say, dream big," said Naruto as she smiled at her slack-jaw sensei. He didn't look closely at Naruto's last names. He only saw the Uzumaki and didn't think much of it. For last he remembered was that Naruto was an orphan that vanished when she was little. Okay, you're next, Pinky," said Kakashi as he smiled at the girl. "Right, my name is Sakura Uzumaki Namikaze Senju, sister of Naruto. I love my grandparents and my sisters and brothers and my twin aunties here and our crazy uncle behind us. Also our other aunties and uncles. I like to train and learn different medical jutsus, and I dislike jerks and foolish people that can understand the difference between a sealed kunai and the sealing scroll. My dreams for the future are be like my grandmother Tsunade and become a great medic nin," said Sakura as she smiled at her shocked sensei. Kakashi looked on with shock at these two girls and trying to figure out what the hell was going on. For her file said Haruno and that she was off training at a very young age. But the file never said she was with Naruto. "Okay, Broody, you're next," he told the last Uchida. "My name is Sasuke Uchida. I have no likes nor do I have any dislikes. I have a goal to kill the man that murdered my clan in cold blood." That was all that Sasuke told the group. "So, Sensei, are you going to tell us a little about yourself?" asked Naruto as she grinned at the masked man. "Ah, that is right. My name is Kakashi Hatake. I will be your Jonin Sensei if you three pass this test tomorrow morning. My likes? I have many. My dislikes? I really don't have any. My dreams and hobbies? I don't wish to share that with you," said Kakashi. The twins looked at each other and began to giggle. "We know why you will not tell us about your hobbies, for you read Daddy's books and we can see the little orange book sticking out of your pouch behind you," they said unison. Deadpool snickered at what the twins had just said and smiled. Kakashi's eyes grew wide. "Your father is Jiraiya-sama?" he asked the twins. They both nodded their heads at him. "Yes, that is their dad and our grandfather," said Naruto as she gave the one-eyed Jonin a foxy grin. "Also, Kakashi, last night Irojiji told us your test was going to be the bell test to see how our teamwork is like," she told the silver-haired Jonin. "Well, yes, that is the goal of the test I was planning to give you. But how you know what the test is and the reason it is 2 bells, it would be pointless to even go though the test now," said Kakashi as he frowned from behind his mask. Sasuke just smirked, for these girls just made sure they all passed, and now they were all genin. "Well, Sensei, we have nothing to do and it would be nice just to get started with training or D-rank missions," said Naruto as she looked at her sister Sakura, who nodded her head in agreement with her sister's statement. Sasuke, on the other hand, just frowned, for he didn't want to waste his time on those lame D-rank missions. "An elite like myself shouldn't waste my time on doing D-rank missions and should be doing C and B-rank missions," said the so equal sign called Elite Uchida. Well, Sasuke, I do not know your skill level, and B rank missions are mainly for Jonin and Chunin level ninjas. The D rank missions are mostly for you Genin to show us your skill level and learn more as to work as a team unite and not work as a single person. Those who betray ninja rules are trash, but those who betray their comrades are worse than trash," said Kakashi as I smiled at everyone. "By the way, who are these three here with you, Naruto and Sakura?" he asked his two female students. "Well, to answer your question, I am their Uncle Deadpool, and those cute little twins, there are their aunts Ryoko and Kyoko, the daughters of Tsunade Senju and Jiraiya, the two Sannin of this hidden village, as well the parents of one named Minato Namikaze," said Deadpool as he looked at Kakashi, who at this point had passed out from learning that his new student was the daughter of his late sensei. Something he never knew. "Was it something I said?" he asked as he had a puzzled look on his face as he looked at Team 7. Sasuke just glared at the red-masked man as if he was some kind of nut job. "I don't see why you two have to have a babysitter with you and those two little brats. It just proves to me that you two are weak and worthless to aiding me in getting power," said Sasuke as he got up and walked over to the railing looking out over the village from the roof of the Ninja Academy. "Well, looks like we are going to have to give him a timeout with the Hulk. It helped out Loki, and it might help out this brooding brat," said Deadpool as an evil grin crossed his lips. He was going to have to royal PSS off Bander and let him lose on this brooding prick. Ryoko and Kyoko looked at each other and just grinned. "Uncle Deadpool, why don't you let Loki play with him?" they asked unison. Everyone looked at the girls and smiled. "We will have to ask Uncle Thor to call Uncle Loki over here to help us," said Naruto as she grinned herself. There would be no way that Sasuke would be able to break free of Loki's magic, and it might do him some good. After 30 minutes of Deadpool poking Kakashi with a stick, he had finally woken up, and when he did, he was poked in the stomach pretty strong. "Ouch, what the heck just happened?" he asked as he looked at his students and Deadpool, who was grinning while holding a very large stick. "You pasted out when you found out your old sensei was Naruto's dad, and that you never knew, for it was assessored help from everyone in fear of Iwa and Kumo attacking us to get back at our late fourth Hokage," said Sakura, who was looking at a medical book as the twins looked over her shoulder. Living in the other world, they had learned a lot about medicanes and new ways to heal people that once thought were unsavable. Kakashi slowly sat up and rubbed his head and sighed. While doing this, he was glaring at the red-masked nutjob. "Alright, if you all are ready, we can take a mission as I report to the Hokage that you all have passed the test. I'm going to have to find a way to tie someone up and see if the other two will help save them. But how things are going, I think these two girls would leave Sasuke to die. But sadly, I can't blame them for that," he thought to himself as he stood up and walked to the door that led to the stairway. "Let's go," he said as he vanished into the dark stairway. The others followed after him, and Sakura resealed her medical book and sighed. "This is going to be fun. I better get a pool going on when Naruto is going to snap and try to kill the Uchiha," she thought as a smile crossed her lips, and the twins nodded to themselves as they could figure out what their niece was thinking. They left the academy in a small group heading to the Hokage Tower. Many of the villagers looked at the group, a few gave Naruto glares, and whispered that the demon brat was back in the village, and they would all be doomed very soon, for the best had taken over the girl. "Fools, they have no idea what I have been though, and how now Kurama and I are good friends. I also know what happened that fateful night, and it's sad I lost everything before my life could start. But I guess things happen for a reason, for I wouldn't have the family I have today if what happened that day never happened," thought Naruto as she just smiled at the villagers and went on her way, not bothering to get upset or yell at these people. They are just fools, but soon they will see that she is more than just the jailer to the great Kyuubi no Kitsuna. "Just ignore them, kid. The time will come, and you will be a legend in your own right," said Kurama from her mind. This made her smile and forget about all those glares. They had arrived at the Hokage Tower and walked up to the Hokage office. There sat Shizuna as she was learning her new job. "What did I agree to this?" she asked herself as she saw the group walking up to her. She saw the twins and smiled. Remember, it was either working at the tower and babysitting. Yeah, we could see what she chose to do. "Good afternoon, everyone. Naruto, how did your team meeting go?" she asked as she smiled at the group. "It went well. But if Amo here doesn't get that stick out of his butt soon, He will find out why Uncle Hulk doesn't mess with me when I'm upset," said Naruto as she glared at Sasuke, who just glared back at the blonde. "Ah, I see. Well, if you want to see Lady Tsunade, just go right in," she told the group. Sakura walked over to Shizuna's desk and waited for everyone to vanish behind the door. "It's $20 buy-in, and you can bet as much as you want on what day Naruto is going to snap and kill him or beat him half to death," said Sakura as she took out a little black book and pen. "Give me the 20th, and I'm betting $100. She looks ready to snap," she told the pinkette. "Okay, I'll put you down, and if he lives past the 20th, I'll let you change your day for the following week or following month," Sakura told the older girl as she wrote everything down and went into the office. As she walked in, she was paper-clipping the money to the little book and looking at everyone Before Sakura joined the others, Kakashi walked up to the desk of the aged Hokage. "Lord Hokage Team 7 has passed and are ready for their first mission," said the silver hair man. Sarutobi nodded his head to the new. "I see your team is eager to begin their lives as ninjas," he said with a smile as he looked at Naruto and Sasuke. "By the way, where is the third member of your team?" he asked as he looked shocked to only see two genin before him. "Sakura is talking with Shizune and will be in any second," said Naruto as the door opened. Tsunade looked over at her two granddaughters and smiled. She was very proud of them. "I'm proud of you too for making it," she said as she walked up to the two girls and hugged them. "Thank you," said both girls as they hugged her back. Jiraiya smirked at them. "So, it was the teamwork bell test after all," he said as he got a glare from Kakashi. "What, that was the same test my sensei used on us, and it was the same test I used with Minato and his team, and the same test he used on your team, Kakashi," said the white-haired Sannin. "That reminds me of something I would like to ask you both, Lady Tsunade and Lord Jiraiya. Is Naruto really Minato and Kushina's daughter?" asked Kakashi. You could see the hope in the man's single eye as he looked at the two Sannin before him. With a heavy sigh, Tsunade looked at Jiraiya. "Yes, he was her father and our son. But that is all I'm going to tell you for now, for there are too many listening," she said as she turned away from the Jonin and looked up at the picture of her late son and sighed once more. The twin also saw the picture of their late brother and smiled. "She does look like him," said Ryoko as she turned to Kyoko. "Yeah, but I do believe she does look like her mommy too. She just got his eye color and hair color. But what Uncle Thor tells us, she is a pain in the butt like her mommy," said Kyoko as she looked back at her sister and smiled. Kakashi stood there gaping. He looked like a masked fish with his wide-eyed expression. "Why was I never told? I was one of the Anbu who watched over her. If I would have known, I would have done more for her. Hell, I would have adopted her and raised her as my own if I only knew," shouted the now angry man. "Will Kaka-sensei think of this as a second chance and help yous grow as ninjas and screw what the council said? I know they want you to focus only on Sasuke and ignore Sakura and I. They see us as only a shield for their Sasuke-kun," said Naruto as you could hear the venom dripping from how she said Sasuke's name. He looked at the girl all wide-eyed. "How did you know the civilian council called for me to only train the Uchiha?" he asked with shock in his voice. This little bit of information had both Jiraiya and Tsunade enraged, as well as the third Hokage, for he knew nothing of this meeting, and it made him wonder how many other meetings had been held behind his back. "In the coming weeks, it will be known that I will become the fifth Hokage, and I will be replacing the elders and maybe most of the civilian council, for they have no right, or do they have any say over my ninjas, for they are only needed when there is something that is need for them. Like sales tax and new zoning for housing and shopping areas," said Tsunade as she looked at the others. "I'm just glad that Diamond Mummy isn't in this village anymore. But I have a bad feeling he will come back and raise some hell. That BSTRD will never allow us to have peace for very long, and once he hears that Naruto is back, he is going to want to take out his revenge on the poor girl," thought Tsunade as she looked over the paperwork she had left to do, and also sign the items that the Fire Lord has asked of her, and also send a copy of her marriage license from her time in New York. He was also sending a new marriage license to her and Jiraiya for the Land of Fire. For they don't want others to know there is another world out there that would be very dangerous to them and their way of life if that other world would ever attack them. "So are we going to get a mission or not?" asked Naruto as she tilted her head to the side as she looked at the others in the room. Realm of Kami. Minato and Kushina watch at how strong their daughter had grown to be. I still can't believe Iro-Sanin is your father, said Kushina as she looked at her husband. I'm just glad you didn't turn out to be a pervert like him, she told him as she turned back to look at her appealing daughter. You're telling me. I'm still shocked. But I am glad my mom protected our baby from those BSTRD and raised her. After leaving that village she did have a better life, and also I have a question for you, love, said Minato as he turned to his wife and smiled at her. Why didn't tell me you spent some time with Norse gods and that is how you got your super straight and wicked temper from? He asked her. Kushina smiled at him sheepishly. I'm sorry, Minato-kun. I never knew how to tell you. Hey, by the way, I spent part of my childhood training and living with gods of another world. Come on, Minato-kun, how would that sound to you? To me, I sounds like a crazy person, said Kushina as she smiled with her right hand behind her head. True, it does make you sound like a crazy person. I was shocked when you told me that you had the QB no Kitsuna in your belly, said Minato as he smiled. Yeah, I know. You freaked out and ran away from me for a couple of hours. I thought I was going to raise Naruto on my own for a while, she told him as she smiled at him. Love, I would never do that to you. I was just shocked, for it was kept Cessert. Best Cessert I had ever heard from that village. But why was it never known you had it sealed in you? Asked Minato as he took Kushina's hand into his and squeezed it. It was due to my great-aunt Mito. She told no one that she had the QB sealed in her beside her husband and his brother. Also, she told me to never tell, for she wanted me to have a normal life. For the villagers wouldn't understand that I was its jail. Also, she had seen what had happened to others that had tailed beasted sealed within them. They pretty much go though what Naruto did while she was growing up, said Kushina as she squeezed his hand in return. Snake Pit of Horror. Lord Orochimaru, things are going as planned. Also, we have gotten words from the Suna. They wish to meet with you once more before they agree to this plan of yours, said Kibito. Orochimaru turned from the computer he was working on to look at his right-hand man. Good. I am glad to hear this, Kibito. Send a message back to them that I will meet with them in 1 month's time. That will get me time to finish this jutsu and place it on that fool Kazekage, he said with a snake-like grin on his face. Danzo was in the shadows watching what was going on with the two men. He is still going though with his plans to attack the village and kill that DMN old fool, he thought to himself as he vanished back into the shadows. This made Orochimaru grin, for he saw the old mummy listening in on him and his little spy. I think it's time for you and your team to return back to the village and report in with the job you were out doing, he told Kibito. Yes, Lord Orochimaru, we will be leaving after I send that message, said Kibito as he bowed and vanished into the ground. Kibito appeared back in the hallway and saw his teammates waiting for him. Lord Orochimaru has ordered us to return to the village and prosed as planned, he told the other two, and they vanished into the inky black hallways. Back in the village, Steve was running down the busy market street. He was pale as a ghost and breathed. He quickly stopped and looked over his shoulder. He was looking for someone, but they were nowhere in sight. He sighed with relief and walked over to the dango stand. He saw Tony and the other sitting out front of. Hey, I have been looking for you guy for a while now, he told them. Rogers, you finally get away from her? Asked Tony as he grinned at his friend. Just that grin alone was enough to make Steve feel a little uneasy. Yes, I believe I have gotten away from Anko for the time being. I have fought Nazi soliders and never have I met anyone like her, said Steve as he walked over and sat next to Clint. What are Nazis? Asked a female voice right from behind Steve. He froze right there and slowly turned his head around. There standing before him in all her glory was Anko, and she had a wicked smirk across her lips as she raised her arms. Twin snake attack. Twin snakes shot out of her coat sleeves and wrapped around Steve. Steve, you should go out with me and have some fun while you're here, said Anko as she walked up to the trapped man. All right, Anko, we can go to dinner tonight. I will pick you up at 6, asked Steve as he looked at the spunky young woman before him with defeat in his eyes. That sounds great, and my two friends here will take along to make sure you don't blow me off. said Anko as she smiled, and the two snakes unwrapped themselves from around Steve and slowly moved up towards his neck and loosely hung off his shoulders and wrap around his arms. The others just looked on. They didn't know if they should stop this or take pictures of what was happening to their teammate. So, Tony took out a camera and took several photos of this. "You know you two look really cute together," he told them as he smirked. "I know we do. But, for now I just want to have some fun and play with the man. Maybe if he likes me there could be more between us," said Anko as she turned and walked away from the group as she smirked. "My friend, she is a fiery one," said Thor as he smirked. "Also, it is already 4 p.m. and you should head home and get ready. You wouldn't want to be late for that lady warrior," Thor finished saying as he took a drink of his tea and smiled at his friend. The others just snickered and went back to their outing. In defeat, Steve Rogers went back to the Senju estate to get ready for his date from hell with Anko. "Lord, please give me the will I need to make it past this night," he said, a silent prayer in his head. It was time. The ill-fated date Steve feared with the snake Emestiarius of Konoha. Her snakes had lead him to her apartment and with a little mental pep talk. "Okay Steve, you can do this. If you can punch Hitler and go toe-to-toe with the Red Skull, you can go on a date with a woman that summons snakes and is crazy. Why isn't she going after Wade?" he thought to himself as he knocked on the door. "Okay Anko, he is here and you don't want to scare him," Anko told herself as she double-checked herself in the mirror. The black maxi dress she was talked into buy looked smoking on her with the knee-high 3-inch high heel boots and black LTHR jacket. "Wow, I look good," she said to herself as she played with her loose curled hair and applied her deep purple lipstick. With one final look she walked to the door, grabbing her bag and throw in a seal scroll of weapons in it just in case. Standing on the other side of the door, Steve shifted from foot to foot. The snake watched him with amusement. The summoner had this poor guy frightened of her. Steve had on black jeans and white t-shirt with a black LTHR jacket and his hair slicked back. With black boots on, he was doing his own version of a James Dean look and he cleaned up pretty nice. Just as he was going to turn and make a break for it, Anko opened the door. The sight before him froze him. His eyes widened and his jaw unhinged as he was in shock on how sexy she looked standing there. "I see you found my place without any trouble," said Anko as she smirked at him. She loved his reaction to how she was dressed. She would have to remember to thank Hana for the help. Yeah, I did. You look fantastic," said Steve, trying to regain his composure. "So, are you ready? I was able to get us a table at the Golden Kunai at 6:30. I was told it was the best place to take you for our first date," he told her. Anko was shocked. All she could do was nod her head. No one had ever taken her somewhere like that. All they had ever done was just taken her for dango or to some crappy bar and grill. He was the first ever to try and make this enjoyable for her. She smiled at him and linked her right arm with his left arm and they left. Many ninja and villager alike watched the two walk down the street. They only stopped when Steve had to ask her where the restaurant was. The deepest bowels in depths of secret base. A man with a single glowing red eye stood in the shadows. He grinned to himself. Soon, very soon my plan would come to light, he thought to himself as others gathered in the camber to meet with their supposed leader. Back in the leaf. Naruto threw the paintbrush in her hands at Sasuke. "Damn it, duck butt, how many times have I told you no? I will not be some DMN breeder for your lame butt clan," she growled out as the hot pink paintbrush slowly slid down his face. That what you think? Soon you will see the error of your ways and be mine. Only the best stock will be my wives," said Sasuke as he threw the paintbrush down and smirked at the blonde. "You got another thing coming to ya if you think I'm going to bend to your will," said Naruto as she glared at the emo. Just as she was about to grab the bucket of paint to dump over his head, Kakashi stepped in. "Okay you two, that is enough, and Sasuke, you best learn when a lady says no, she means no," said the one-eyed Jonin. Was all Sasuke said. With a sigh, Kakashi looked at the paint job his team did. It wasn't too bad and Sasuke was wearing about half the pink paint the client wanted her house to be. "Okay everyone, let's go report and call it a day," he said as he watched them all clean up their mess and Naruto just saying screw it and dumping the last of the paint over Sasuke's head. Meanwhile, Deadpool and the twins laughed and took picture and video of all that had happened at the start of this mission. "I got my Christmas card for this year," said Deadpool as he grinned like a madman. The twins nodding with agreement. They would have to ask Uncle Tony to make copies of these pictures so they could plaster the whole village with them. Team 7, now mostly cleaned up of the paint, made their way to the Hokage Tower to make their report and maybe pick up another one or call it a day. Either way, Kakashi didn't care. He got paid no matter what they did. As they walked, though, the main part of the village giggles could be heard as fangirls and other girls alike giggled at the sight of Great Uchida covered in hot pink paint. His face was clean and most of the paint out of his hair, but clothing were victims to an enraged blonde pigtail girl. Naruto saw her Uncle Banner and Uncle Clint sitting at a tea shop just idle chatting away. But Clint looked up when he could smell paint and saw the girls and a hot pink blob and Deadpool and twins and Silver Hair Man coming their way. "Uncle Clint, Uncle Banner," cried Naruto as she ran to the two men. Banner rose his eyebrow to her antics. He knew something bad must have happened for her to be dramatic like this. "Hey kiddo," said Clint. "Hey Naru," said Banner. He studied her for a second before speaking again. "What's wrong? You're not your cheerful self," he said as he looked at Sakura. The girl just frowned at him. Naruto sighed. "Duck Butt Mo there wants me to be breeding stock for him," she told the two men as she pointed to the pink blob of a boy. Both men looked at each other and back at Sasuke. "Do you have feelings for our niece?" asked Clint as the southern gentleman was coming out of him. Sasuke smirked. "They will see it my way and make her be mine," he thought to himself. "I only see that she is strong and would be best to have by my side, so I will have strong children and really build my clan. All she would ever be to me is a breeder. Who needs love when you want strong children?" he told them both. Clint looked ready to murder the stupid boy as Banner studied the kid. "So, there is no love for her, but because she is strong and also maybe because who her family is. She is good for just giving you children?" he asked. "What the hell else was I saying, you nerd? I could give a DMN if she lived or died during child BRTH as long as the kid lived and was strong," growled out Sasuke. Everyone, even Kakashi, took several steps back. Hell, Clint almost fell out of his chair getting away from his teammate. Sasuke didn't even notice this and glared at the man. But before anyone could say anything, Banner was replaced with a hulk of a man with green skin. The Hulk looked down at the last Uchida. A evil smirk came across his lips. "Hulk will smart you to pieces," said the Hulk as he made a fist and hit Sasuke. The force of the blow sent the teen flying into the air and right into the open window of the Hokage's office. Tsunade blinked as she looked up from her paperwork to see a pink Sasuke Uchida sticking out of her wall and a PSS off Hulk flying through her window, as he was followed by the other members of Team 7, Clint and several Anbu. Sighing, she slowly stood up from her paperwork and walked over to the Hulk. Before he knew it, her fist connected with his jaw and he went spinning into her couch as he turned back to Banner. "What the hell is going on and why do I have a Hulk lose in the village?" she asked as she looked at everyone. Everyone pointed at the unconscious Uchida. "He started it," said Naruto as she crossed her arms over her chest and puffed out her cheeks. "He told Uncle Banner that he wanted me as a breeder, and he didn't care if I lived or died during child BRTH, said the blonde hair girl as she sat down onto the floor crossed-legged. You could see the rage in Tsunade's. "Did that little BSTRD really say that?" she asked as she turned to look at everyone. "Yes, he did, mommy," said Ryoko and Kyoko unison, as they glared at Sasuke as he fell to the floor with a loud thud. Tsunade looked at her twins. She knew they had no need to lie, and she also the video camera in Deadpool's hands as she filmed the down Uchida and Banner. "Wade," she said. He looked up at her and smiled. "Yes, my goddess," he said as he saw her glare at him. "Did you by chance film that little interaction between Banner and Duck Butt?" asked Tsunade. Deadpool grinned. "You bet I did. I'm planning to remix it and add some music to it," he said as he handed over the camera. She took it and rewound the footage as she found what she was looking for and played the video back. What she saw and heard just Pisces her off to no end. "Kakashi, get that little BSTRD out of my office, and for the next month he is not allowed to train or go on missions with Team 7. growled Tsunade as she gave Deadpool back his camera. Kakashi nodded his head and vanished in a swirl of leaves with Sasuke. He dumped the boy off at the hospital and told the nurses to keep him as long as they wanted. They nodded, and one of the Anbu from the Hokage office showed up several seconds later and told everyone what he had did. Needless to say, all the female staff of the hospital wanted to neuter his butt for his actions against his teammate. It'd been about a month since their date, and shockingly to everyone, Steve and Anko had grown pretty close. They had even told each other the hardships they each has faced, and because of this, they had grown stronger. Sasuke's 1-month grounding was over, but he did beach to the council every chance he got. He was not used to being told no, and that some of the council had not taken his side on this. But he didn't know was they had seen the Hulk flying into the Hokage's office window, and they feared the large green man. Also, it didn't help Deadpool all sent them videos of what happened and told them that could be them. Several more days had passed, and Team 7 with Kakashi and Deadpool walked into the missions offices where Tsunade and Sartobi sat behind a huge desk with the twins off in the corner coloring, while Tony sat in a chair working on his 3D laptop. Rock Lee came running into the office with a cat stuck to his head, screaming, "Ah, get it off of me," he screamed as he ran into the desk, where Ryoko walked up to him and jumped onto the desk, pulling off Tora. There, Lee. I have Tora now," said Ryoko as she held the cat, petting it. "Thank you so much, Ryoko-chan. I believe Tora-chan will never like me, like how she enjoys you and Kyoko-chan," said Rock Lee as he bowed to the little girl. Ryoko smiled as she hugged Tora and turned to the kitty's owner. The Fire Lord's wife smiled at the little girl. "Thank you so much for returning, Tora-chan," said the robust woman as she also scooped Ryoko into her arms and hugged the little girl. A sly smirk graced the little girl's lips as she hugged the woman back just as strong, making her drop the child as she giggled. "Tsunade-chan, your daughter has your strength as well, and her father's cunning smile," said the Fire Lord's wife as she turned and left the office. Tsunade looked over at her daughter with a smirk of her own as Ryoko ran back over to Tony to where she began to look at what he was working on. "Ba-chan, can we have a better mission and no more chores?" cried Naruto as she looked over at her grandma and Gigi. "Brat, how many times have I told you not to call me that while I'm at work?" asked the busy blonde as she glared at her granddaughter. Sly foxy grin graced her lips as she walked up to the desk, slamming her hands on the desk, making eye contact with Tsunade as you could see joy dancing in the young girl's eyes. "You know I could always give Anbu a run for their money again and paint the whole village once more," she stated as she smirked as she saw what she wanted in the older blonde's eyes. Panic flashed, thought the woman's eyes. She knew all too well Naruto could do that. She has done it to Flurry several times when he told the girl no. "Fine, brat. I have a C-rank SCRT mission and bodyguard while the client finishes his bridge from the land of wave to the land of fire," stated Tsunade as she threw the mission scroll at Kakashi as he looked at the two blondes wide-eyed as Kyoko pulled an old smelly drunk of an old man into the office. "Mommy, he stinks. Maybe a bath first before you take off, mister," said Kyoko as she held her nose. Deadpool stood next to Kakashi, snickering at what had all happened. "I am not missing my little princess's first mission out of the village," he said as he turned to Tsunade. "Fine, go. But remember, this is their mission and only step in when Kakashi is unable to protect them or the client. Do you understand me, Wade?" growled out Tsunade as she stood and looked the merc with a mouth dead in the eyes. Flames could be seen liking her eyes with her icy stare. Yeah, no stabbing people unless old one eye fails," said Deadpool as he grinned at everyone. Kakashi looked at the masked man. "He is truly insane. Maybe I could bury him in the bridge," he thought to himself as he turned, and I smiled at everyone. "Meet at the main gates in 1 hour and pack for a 1-month mission and only bring what you need," he said as he vanished in a swirl of leaves. "Huh? He and these little girls are my SCRT?" asked Tazuna as he looked at everyone. Deadpool walked up to him and linked arms with him. "Don't worry, Smelly. I'm a hitman and Blonde and Pinky are pretty good fighters. I had a hand in their training and upbringing. But Duckbutt I can't tell you about. He all take and might PSS his breathe," he said with a grin, dragging the old man out. "So, get your gear too, Daddy Pool?" yelled Naruto. She grinned as the room grew quiet and Deadpool began gushing like a little girl. She called me daddy and yes, it's all sealed and next to my gun rack," said Deadpool as he and Tazuna vanished. The hour had passed and Deadpool has been talking with the old man at the main gate. "Yeah, my life changed when I met that little girl and we raised hell together till it was time for us to return here. I planned to stay and be with my little family," said Deadpool as he smiled from behind his mask. "Well, Deadpool, and it sounds like she is a very impressive girl as well as her friend you helped raises with the others," said Tazuna as he took a drink of his water. Naruto and Sakura came running up to the two men. "Hey, we got the 2 scrolls marked month trip and month trip Pew and Hello Kitty ammo bag," said Naruto as she threw him the hot pink Hello Kitty backpack with the scrolls sticking out of the top of it. "Awa, you remembered," said Deadpool as he wiped a fake tears away. The 2 Chunin guard just watched what was happening. "How do the others handle that man?" questioned a Hyuga clan's woman to a Nara clan's woman. The other woman just shrugged and got all the paperwork for the sign-out. Kakashi and Sasuke came walking up to the small group. "Sasuke, if Lady Tsunade wishes for him to come along, I am unable to stop her orders," he told his student as Sasuke glared at him. "Fine, but they better stay out of my way," he stated as he glared at the group. A devilish grin could be seen on Deadpool's face. Out of nowhere he appeared behind Sasuke. "Awa, what's wrong, my little duck's butt?" he asked as he wrapped an arm around Sasuke's shoulder. To say the less, Sasuke jumped and spun around with a kunai in his hand as he tried to stab Deadpool. "You freak, you have no right touching me. I am elite and you're just trash like the rest of them," growled out Sasuke. "All right everyone. Our mission is to escort Mr. Tazuna back to his home in the Land of Wave and stay there until his bridge is built. They have been having issues with bandits on the build site," said Kakashi as everyone signed out. Naruto and Sakura kept quiet while they left the village. They both remembered the stories Jiraiya told them about the Land of Wave. The Lord of the Land of Wave is a power-hungry fool, always looking out for more control and other things. Sasuke just glared kunai into the back of Deadpool's head as he kept talking with Tazuna and Kakashi was reading and just listening in. Steve and Anko. Anko had talked Steve to come chalk out tea and I. "Awa Stevie, you'll like it. It's nothing like that shield you work for. Trust me," said Anko as she smiled. They walked up to one of the viewing windows and they saw Ibiki standing before a man with white hair. "So, Mizuki, how are we going to play this?" asked Ibiki. "I told you the demon brat put me under her control and made me do it," yelled Mizuki. Ibiki chucked. "So, the blame falls on Naruto, who has been out of the village these past few years? Tell me, how would she know about the forbidden scroll?" he asked with a wicked grin. Ibiki looked down at the table before him and picked up the straight razor. "I'm not lying about this," cried Mizuki. Steve looked at Anko. "Why does he hate Naruto so much?" he asked. Anko looked up at the man before her. "He hates her for what she has sealed within her. The same reason many of the villagers hate her," she said as he looked down to the floor. Steve pulled Anko into a tight hug. "Like you have no control of being marked by that rapscallion Orochimaru," he whispered into her ear. Anko's body tensed up, but soon relaxed into his arms. "Yeah," was all she could say. They walked away from the window when the screams began to annoy Anko with her tender moment with her boyfriend. "Pew pew, what demon?" "Hey bonehead," said Deadpool's brain. "Yeah? What do you want, brain?" said Deadpool out loud. Naruto and Sakura snickered behind him. They knew something interesting was going to happen. Inside Naruto's mindscape, Kurama rolled his eyes. "Nutcase," he thought to himself. "Look before you. Doesn't something look off?" asked his brain. Deadpool looked ahead of them and narrowed his eyes. "That's right, meathead," said his brain. Deadpool put his hand on his hips over his gun. "Well, Kakashi, do you think I can hit the center of those 2 puddles?" he asked the copy ninja. Kakashi looked up from his book and looked at what Deadpool was talking about. He slowly narrowed his eyes. "Not sure. You're not that good," he said in a mocking tone. Both puddles sweat dropped. But before they could attack, Deadpool pulled his 2 guns and emptied a clip into both puddles. Sasuke was shocked along with Tazuna when the justice dropped and there before them laid dead the demon brothers of Kiri. "So, old man, are you going to tell us why 2 missing mins are after you?" asked Deadpool as he picked up his empty shell casings and dropped the empty clips into his backpack. Tizuna, paled, looked at the masked man. I didn't have the money for a high mission. Gato has a hit on me for what I'm trying to do, he said as his eyes began to tear up. Gato? Said Naruto as she walked up to the old man. He is a businessman that is Yakuza, and he has taken over my home and the people are suffering, said Tizuna. What happened to the Lord of Waves? Asked Kakashi as he put his book away. He is dead at the bottom of the sea. He was funding the bridge till Gato killed his personal guards and murdered the man before us, Tizuna said as he fell to his knees. I'm sorry for lying to you, but I didn't have any options left. I had spent most of all I had on supplies, and I knew I wouldn't make it home this time around. So I took a chance. Please help me free my land, he begged. Hey old man, get up. We'll do it, said Deadpool. Anyways, if we need any help we can call Old Banner, he said with an evil grin. You know what? We should just call them, said Naruto as she reached into her back pouch. She pulled out a little black shiny square. Kakashi, Sasuke, and Tizuna all looked at the girl strangely. What's that thing? Asked Sasuke. Oh, that's just Naruto's cell phone, said Sakura as if it wasn't any big deal. Naruto grinned and called Tony. Hokage Tower. Hello, said Tony as he put his phone on speaker. Tsunade looked up from her paperwork. Who the hell could be call? She wondered. Hey, Uncle Tony, came Naruto's voice. Hey kiddo, what's up? He asked. We need some help. You think you and the guys can give us some backup? She asked. This now got Tsunade walking over to the man. What's going on, Naruto? Asked Tsunade. Oh hey mama. Our mission has gone from C to high A and we need to take down a evil little troll overlord. So, I figure I call in help, said Naruto. What the hell? Yelled Tsunade. I'm sending them and you tell Mr. Tizuna we will talk after this mission over. Got it, brat? She asked. Yeah, we got it. My location is on and we will wait here till they show. Send a cleanup crew for the Demon Brothers' bodies, said Naruto as she quickly hung up. Tony looked at Tsunade. So, we are to handle this and I'll pay for the upgrade of mission, he told Tsunade as he stood up and pushed in a code into his cell phone. Fine, Mouse and Sloth will be going with you guys to collect the bodies and anything else left. So, be at the main gate in 30 minutes, said Tsunade as two Anbu vanished. You got it, said Tony. Across the village cell phones went off. The code they saw was Code Naruto. At the Senju house stood Hinata, Thor, Banner, Steve with Anko, Clint, Lee, Guy, as Tony walked into the house. All right, people. We have a mission to back up Team 7. It appears we have a Trill Overlord to take down to free a nation, said Tony as he looked at Guy and Anko. Anko grinned and Guy smiled. Count me in. It is unyouthful what that troll is doing, shouted Guy. Count me in. It will get me out of the office, said Anko. Steve just sweat dropped. Well, that's a new meaning to a date night, said Clint as he laughed. What about the red head of your group? Oh, she had to stay and wait for a new member that is coming over and also babysit the twins. Your Anbu can't handle the twins, said Tony as he laughed. Tony took out his phone and called Tsunade and told her of the others added to the team. Tizuna sat under a tree looking at the group before him. I am grateful to them, he thought to himself. Hey, old man, called Naruto. Tizuna looked up at the girl. Yeah, he asked. Do you know the location of Gato's base? Asked Naruto as she was looking over a map of the land of Wave. Sakura sat next to her with a laptop sitting on her lap. Yeah, that would be helpful. So, we can come up with a plan of attack, she added. Tizuna crawled over to the girls and looked at the map before him. The village is right here 5 miles from the shore near the coast of the Land of Fire. Last I knew Gato was last located northeast from the village about 40 miles. But some say he took over the former lord's home that is south of the village by 70 miles. You have to cross a large forest to get to the new location, he told the two girls. Okay, said Sakura as she typed everything down. Naruto nodded her head and saw Port's location on the map. She slowly frowned. Does he have any warehouses? Also, where are all his thugs located at? she asked as she was marking things down on the map. All ports and warehouse are ran by Gato, said Tazuna. Deadpool walked up behind them. Have any people gone missing from the village? He asked. His voice for once was serious. Tazuna sat there for a moment thinking. Yeah, a handful of women and children and a few young guys have gone missing. Also drugs have increased in the village, even a new one, said Tazuna as he pulled out a little blue pill with angel wings on it. Deadpool took it and looked at it. Kakashi walked over to get a look at it. What is that? Asked Kakashi as he looked at the little pill. Sakura looked up from her computer. Her eyes hardened as Naruto frowned. It's a party drug we saw in New York called Angel's Dust. We were told it's a date RPE drug, for you don't know what the hell is happening. Also raised your body heat and increases your heart rate. There have people who have died from heart attacks after taking it, said Sakura. Do you think we can have that pill and take it back to Mama? Asked Naruto as she looked at the old bridge builder. Yeah, sure kid, said Tazuna as he handed over the pill and Naruto sealed it away in a small scroll. Just then Tony and the crew showed up with 2 Anbu. Sasuke looked PSS when he saw the others show up. What the hell? He growled out. Everyone looked up to the others. Naruto jumped up dropping the map and ran over to the others. Hello to you to Duck Butt, said Tony as Thor snickered. It's funny for it does look like a duck's butt, said Thor still laughing. HN, was all Sasuke said as he turned away. Naruto pulled out her phone and showed it to Tony. Really code Naruto? She asked a little annoyed. Tony shrugged. How many times have you gotten lost or in fights that you gotten in over your head? Asked Tony. One little fight with 3 members of the Brotherhood and I get my own DMN code, said Naruto crossing her arms pouting. Don't forget the Frost Giant, added Thor. Also the time you PSS off that weirdo Sabertooth, said Deadpool. Hey, that one you dared me on, that's on you and Uncle Logan, whined Naruto as she kept pouting. All eyes turned to Deadpool. What? He asked. Everyone just sweat dropped. Shady bar in the land of tea. 2 strangely dressed people sat at a table off in the corner, both just drinking as they looked over some files before them. My dear Harley, this fool Orochimaru thinks he has the key to immortality, said the man dressed in purple but hid face still hid in the shadows. Well, Pudding, we can work with him for a while. Then we can handle him alike all our other past partners, said the now named Harley. We could do that. Anyways, that fool Ajax did ask us to come help, he told Harley. Back with the gang. Said Deadpool as he looked down the road. My Francis senses are going off odd, he thought to himself. Naruto ran over to Mouse and Sloth. Hey guys, could you give something to Tsunade Mama? She asked the 2 Anbu before her. Of course Naruto-sama, said Mouse. Please no Sama please, just Naruto or Naru-chan, said Naruto as she smiled. She pulled out the small scroll from her pocket. Tell her Angel has found her way here, she told them as she handed over the scroll. Understood, said Sloth. He took the scroll and put it away. Both Anbu went about their business and cleaned up the bodies and vanished into the wind. Sakura showed Tony the map and what she had drawn up on her computer. He nodded his head. Looks good. We should take out the bases with the thugs and search the warehouses for any SLV and missing people, said Tony as he pointed to the warehouse on the map. That is good and all, but I must keep my team with Mr. Tazuna and his bridge, said Kakashi. Tony and Banner looked over at Kakashi. That is fine, but we will need Naruto and Sakura at some point. If they go with us, we will leave someone to cover for them, said Banner. Guy stepped forth. I would be glad to help you. My youth rival. You say something? Asked Kakashi. Curse you and your hip ways, Kakashi, said Guy. Suna. A scroll appeared on the Kazukoga's desk. The man looked down at the scroll and raised an eyebrow. It appears my spy has news from the leaf, he thought to himself as he reached for the scroll. Slowly he opened the scroll and looked it over. His eyes widened in shock. Tsunade is back in the village and now the 5th Hokage. As well, Minato had a daughter and the girl is powerful and has brought some powerful strangers back, he thought as he put the scroll down. There isn't any way I'm going to allow Orochimaru to drag me down with him. With 2 Sannin and several unknowns, Orochimaru only is strong without the other 2 around. But with them there, this invasion will only fail, he thought as he pulled out a scroll and wrote something down and sent it off. Back to the road to the wave. They traveled without further incident and made it to the coastline. There sat a man in a large boat. He took the cigarette from his mouth and blew out the smoke and stood up. He was big and built and had long brown hair and coffee-color eyes. He had a large black cloak covered his dark clothing. "About time you showed up, you old fart," said the man. "Well, we ran into trouble and had to wait for backup," said Tazuna as he pointed to the strange-dressed men. "Fine, let's get going. The mist is rolling in and it would be good cover for our movement," he said as he turned as he waited for the other to get on board his boat. Zabuza sat in the shadows watching the group that was walking down the old dirt road. "It appears we will have to handle this a different way," he said as he looked at the boy sitting next to him. "Zabuza-sama, shouldn't we just cut our losses here? That troll isn't going to pay us," said the boy. Zabuza said nothing as he sat back in the tree, but before he could speak a strangely dressed man appeared next to him. "Hello, no brows," said Deadpool as he kicked Zabuza out of the tree. He turned to the other person in the tree. "Hello, dear. Would you please join us down there?" he asked as he pointed to the others. Haku just nodded her head. She still couldn't wrap her mind of what just happened. "Gato's office. Do you really believe that fool can handle the job you gave him?" asked the animalistic-looking man. "Does it really matter? You're to kill him anyway," said Gato as he looked at the man before him. "Tazuna's house. So, only reason you're doing this is to raise money to stop the bloodline purge happening back in Kiri?" asked Kakashi as he looked at the large man before him. "Yeah, that's right," said Zabuza as his eyes went to his daughter. "Don't worry, no brows. We're not going to hurt the girl," said Deadpool as he handed Haku a glass of lemonade. Said girl took the glass looking at it. As she saw Naruto drinking from the same pitcher her drink came from. Slowly she took a drink of it. "You know the revolution is over, right?" asked Tony as he walked over. "Jiraiya said the 4th Mizakage has vanished and a woman by the name of Mai has taken over." "It's over?" asked Zabuza. "Yeah, Iro Sannin told us about it a week before we took the mission," said Naruto as she looked at him. "Zabuza-sama, I told you. That troll just lied to us," said Haku with anger in her voice. "Then why don't we end this mission tonight and kill the troll?" said Deadpool as he grinned at everyone. Snake's Pit. Orochimaru looked over the scroll he had received from the Suna. "Orochimaru, we are backing out of this little farce. Tsunade Senji has returned to the village along with Jiraiya. She has become the 5th Hokage. Along with them, some strangely dressed strangers have returned with her. But the most troubling news is, she has the daughter of the late 4th Hokage with her. Find another fool to join you." Orochimaru threw the scroll into the wall. He glared at it as Alex and Angel walked into the lab. "What is wrong with you?" asked Ajax as he looked at the pale man. "It appears my old teammates have returned from wherever they had been hiding and have some strangely dressed people with them. Suna has backed out of our agreement," hissed out Orochimaru as his yellow eyes looked at Ajax. "Well, depending whatever else is in that message, we can use it against the village and get someone much stronger than those desert rats," said Ajax as he picked it up. "Joker and Harley have arrived," said a random sound ninja. Ajax looked up and smirked. "Good, show them in," he told the man. The sound ninja turned around and walked back out. When he returned, there was a creepy smile across his face as he fell to the ground dead. "Awa Porin, there goes another one," said Harley as she stepped over the dead man. Orochimaru narrowed his eyes at the woman before him. "Who in blue blazes are you?" he demanded. The blonde pigtail woman looked up from the body. "I'm Harley Quinn, Mr. J's right-hand woman and girlfriend," she told him as she laughed. "Well, my dear, it just means we have to tweak it some more," said the Joker as he stepped out of the shadows. There before Orochimaru stood a tall, slender man with bright green hair, white skin like his own with red lips. But the man's eyes were cold, eyes of a stone-cold killer. Joker looked at Orochimaru and then to Ajax. "So, this is the fool you want my help with?" he asked as an insane laugh escaped his lips. Hello, joke? Yes, it appears your help would be greatly appreciated, said Ajax as he turned away from the man and moved past Orochimaru to a table. Very well. I have nothing going on in Gotham at the moment. It appears Bats is on vacation or something, said Joker as he shrugged his shoulders as he passed Orochimaru. What the hell? I am surrounded by crazed freaks, Orochimaru thought to himself. Back with Naruto. A 3D image was floating over the dining room table as Tony scanned in the map Naruto and Sakura had made up while waiting for the others to show. I think it would be best to take out all the bandit camps before taking out the troll, said Naruto as she pointed to the largest of all the camps. That could work, but most of his men hang out at the compound. Gato is very paranoid and has 4 guards outside of his office and 2 standing in front of the door. Outside the compound walls are about 150 men always moving and circling the place. But they do it in shift with teams of 4, said Haku as she pointed to a large mansion on the map. Shockingly, the place was only 5 miles from the village. So, all the rumors of Gato's location are set up to throw off would-be assassins? Asked Clint as watched Tony cross out the 2 locations they thought the old man would be at. Yeah, but he moves between those 3 places every month. This is the month he is the closest to the village, for he believes the old man will die here soon, said Zabuza. Does he keep prisoners at the other locations? Asked Hinata as she was typing a report of all they are talking about. Yes, in the basement, said Haku as she looked away. Her ivy skin took on a green tint to it. What's wrong? Asked Lee. They are the women that had been kidnapped. They are the ones that have been made too. Haku couldn't say any more as tears rolled down her cheeks. Then we know what we are going to do. Kill those fuckers and save those poor women, said Deadpool standing up. We should attack before dawn, said Thor as he looked disgusted at the thought of what has happened to the people of this island. Tony nodded his head as he was typing something as well. We take the largest camp, the smaller ones will fall quickly, said Steve as he looked on. Anko kept clenching her fist in anger. Sasuke smirked thinking he would be part of this sneak attack. All right, Naruto, Sakura, Lee, Hinata, Deadpool, myself, Thor and Clint, we take the main camp. Banner, Roger, Anko, Guy. You 4 will take these 2 smaller camps, said Tony as he looked things over. Why in hell are they the ones going after the main camp? Screamed Sasuke. For you are not ready for battle and you and your sensei will stay and watch over Mr. Tazuna and his family while we clean house, said Steve as he looked at the boy. Like hell I'm not ready. I am the elite and I can handle anything, yelled Sasuke. Brat, you're acting like a spoiled toddler not getting his way. By your behavior I believe you are not mentally stable to be a shinobi of the leaf, growled Anko as several of her snakes wrapped around Sasuke's body. Sasuke paled as he felt and saw the snakes. You will pay for this, you psycho beach, he growled out. Before he knew it, the snake around his neck bit him. With that, he fell to the floor. Anko, what did you do? Asked the tired Kakashi. With a smirk, she looked at the one-eyed man. Nothing. Just put him to sleep. He will awake after we are done. We can't have him getting in our way, she told him. We will help watch over the old man, for I know Gato was seeking more missing ninjas to work for him, said Zabuza as he stood up. Very well, said Tony as he looked over their plans and everyone called it a night. Naruto, Sakura, Hinata, and Lee tied Sasuke up and dyed his hair and put makeup on him and a hot pink dress that Deadpool pulled out of nowhere. She is a lovely princess, said Deadpool as he took pictures of the boy with the stuffed unicorn. Ajax smirked as he read the letter from the Suna. So, the Leaf's greatest of heroes had a child and a girl to top it off, he thought to himself. With the letter in hand, Ajax looked at Orochimaru, a dark smirk gracing his lips. Doesn't Iwa still have bad BLD with the Leaf over their late 4th Hokage? He asked. The same dark smirk graced his cold, scaly lips. They do fear that their child didn't die that night the Nine-Tails attacked. With this little tidbit of knowledge, they may be the pawns we need for this attack during the Chunin exams, he said with a smirk. What are these exams are you talking about? Asked Harley Quinn. It's exam that they use to test their little brats, said Joker as he just grinned as he walked over to Orochimaru's throne and flopped down on it. Orochimaru glared at the Prince of Fools. I have 4 teams entering. I as well will be taking part, he told them. Ajax's just smirk, never saying a word about what he just heard from this fool before him. This will work to my advantage. All I need to do is kill his fool while he is taking part in the exam and take over his little operations here, he thought to himself as he turned to walk out of the room with Angel on his heels. Joker jumped off the throne and followed after Ajax's. He had no loyalty to the snake-like man, and at this moment, he just wanted to kill him and be done with it. But Ajax's has a need for this fool just a little while longer. Land of Wave. It was 1M. Naruto, Hinata, Sakura all walked down the stairs to find their sensei Kakashi sitting next to the wall. He was there with his little orange book out, and underneath him was Sasuke thrashing to get free from the Silver's hair man as a large bulldog was chewing on Sasuke's sandal. All 3 girls just rolled their eyes and went to the kitchen table. There at the table was Deadpool with 3 scrolls before 3 empty seats. Are you 3 ready? Each girl stood before a scroll that was a different color and with a different animal on it. Before Hinata was a lavender scroll with a mighty white tiger. Before Sakura was a pink scroll with a lion. Finally, before Naruto was an orange scroll with a 9-tailed fox. They sat down in front of their respected scroll. Deadpool smiled at each of them as he took off his mask. Well, girls, tonight, you 3 will be going out there as agents of X-Force. Tony has finally perfected your uniforms and there isn't anything can cut through it at this point, he told the 3 girls. They each nodded their heads to this. Each girl grabs a scroll and left the kitchen and returned to their room. Haku had just woken up and was sitting up on her bed as the 3 girls returned. Anko was putting on the new mesh armor that Tony had given her to wear earlier that night. Each girl went to their beds and placed the scrolls down as they quickly undressed and opened their respected scrolls. Before each girl an outfit just like Deadpool's appears. But the suits were black with their respected color, where the black was on Deadpool's red suit was their colors. Hinata lavender, Sakura pink, and finally Naruto with orange. Each girl quickly dressed and pilled their hair into ponytails and slipped their masks on. It covered the whole head, but for the mouth area, that was left open for each girl. Over their left BRST was a red X, standing for X-Force. Anko let out a low whistle as she looked over the girls' skin-tight outfit. Looking hot, ladies, she told them with a sly smirk. Thank you, said Naruto as she laughed. All 3 girls returned downstairs to see Deadpool laying out their swords and guns as well as had already packed their pouches and kunai pouches. He even had belts waiting for them with a lot of surprises within them. Deadpool looked at the girls and smiled. Looking good, ladies, he said as he saw Lee walking down the stairs with his vernation of Deadpool's suit. I like the look on you, Lee, he told the boy with a wink. Lee paled as he saw Deadpool wink at him. Not cool, he said as he just looked away from the man and finished getting his belts on and swords with his pouches as well. Hey, where's my sniper rifle? He asked looking over at Deadpool. Deadpool grinned as he walked up to Lee and pushed Chakra into the first belt loop on the right. Out popped the sniper rifle and ammo. I had the old toad put a seal on every inch of the suits and belts for all your specialty weapons, he said as he looked over at the girls and they saw a sheet of paper before them and saw all where everything was hidden on them, and he handed the same sheet to Lee for the boy to look it over. They all look like freaks, yelled Sasuke as he thrashed around under his sensei. Kakashi looked down at Sasuke as he just smiled at the boy. You're not ready and will get yourself killed out there. This isn't a mission for one like yourself that isn't ready to place his life on the line for others, he told the raven hair youth. Sasuke glared at Kakashi. Like hell, I'm not ready. I need to get stronger. I need to gain more power so I can kill my brother, screamed the bound boy. My point exactly, Sasuke. You only think of yourself and cut yourself off from the others. To grow strong, one needs to make bounds with others. To gain power, you need to learn to trust in your comrade. With their aid and strength, you will grow stronger and you will have the trust of people who would truly care about you, said Kakashi as he was getting annoyed with the boy. I was left alone and told that only my hatred for him would make me stronger, said Sasuke as he was trying to prove to the others that he was right and what they believed they was truly wrong. Boy kid, don't you have it all wrong. Even the X-Men would have knocked some sense into you for what you believe is right. Maybe I should have called over the Tin Man and Bomb Girl," said Deadpool as he turned away from the boy and walked into the kitchen, just talking to himself and to his brain by the sounds of the shouts coming from the kitchen at this point. Naruto just shook her head to his antics. "Boy, he needs some help," she said as she sat back down and was playing with her twin Desert Eagles as Lee looked over his sniper rifle and was making any needed adjustments to it. "Well, you really can't blame him. When we left, his family was killed off and the stupid civilian council was making him believe that he was king of the village and that all must bow down to him," said Lee as he looked up from his gun. "He does have a point," agreed both Hinata and Sakura as they checked over guns as well. Deadpool returned with several plates of food for each kid. "Eat up, my lovelies," he told him. He had made pancakes, eggs, steak, hash browns stuffed with cheese, mushrooms and bell peppers, as well large glass of milk for each of them. "Wow, Daddy Pool, it all looks so good," said Naruto as she smiled down at her plate and began to eat with the others. The two teams met out front of Tezuna's house. Sasuke still thrashing around like a spoiled child as Zabuza and Haku just shook their heads. "That boy claims to be the elite, but acts more of spoiled brat," thought Zabuza as he flopped down on the armchair. Haku looked to her sensei and back to the door. "I will make ice clones to keep an eye out for anything," she said as she walked outside to see Team X and Team H leave for their respected missions. Off in the shadows stood a feral-looking man. An evil grin graced his lips. "So, this is where those Diamond brats have vanished to," he thought to himself as he stepped back into the shadows. It was time to return to base and inform Ajax of this little bit of information. Naruto stopped dead in her tracks. This stopped the others and they looked to the blonde-hair girl. "What's wrong?" asked Tony as he knew something was up. "That BSTRD Sabertooth is nearby," growled out Kurama as Naruto turned to look at Tony and the others. "Kurama just told me Sabertooth is here," said Naruto as she looked all around her and Hinata using her eyes to scout around the area. "She just caught sight of him. It looks like he is leaving," said Hinata as the others looked to hear. "This isn't good. If he is here, who else is here?" asked Lee as he remembers the fight Naruto had with the feral cat-like man. "If he is leaving, there we will not bother with him right now. But once we return to the village, we might have to call in Logan and a couple of others to help track him down and find out who he's working for. This time around I'm going to kill that DMN cat," growled Kurama. He wasn't going to take any more chance with that DMN man. He was out for BLD and he wanted the BLD of his kit and he wasn't going to be having that. With a nod, everyone once again took off. They need to get this mission done with and help the old man finish his bridge and free this nation from an evil little troll. Leaf Village. Natasha stood outside of the Senji estate as she had the twins running laps around the large training field and as well dodging RBB bullets that several droids were firing at them. If the twins wanted to be strong and be on the same level as the others, they would have to take their training a hell of a lot more serious. She wouldn't allow them to be like those fangirls in Naruto's graduating class. Just as she was going to call for a break, a rainbow appeared before her. There stood Heimdall and right next to him was Peter Park and Shockley Loki as he was glaring at Logan, Colossus and Negasonic Teenage Warhead aka Phimister. She raised an eyebrow at the others that came along with Heimdall. "I was watching what has been happening and to my surprise France has found a doorway to here and has brought a few friends with him. One being Sabertooth and once Logan found out he was missing," Heimdall was saying. "I had to come and find his butt. For we all know he wants the kid dead and will stop at nothing to make sure she dies," said Logan. "We came along to see how Wade was doing and to help out Logan here," said Colossus as he smiled at the redhead before him. Ellie just nodded her head and looked over at the twins. "I just came to see my nieces and have a little fun," said Loki as he looked to the twins as they ran up to the group. "Uncle Loki," yelled Ryoko and Kyoko as one. "My darling little angels, have you two been good?" asked Loki as he smirked at the twin before him. "Yes and no. We are not allowed to play with Mommy's Anbu no more, and we have to keep away from Ibiki for a while after the prank we pulled on him with Naru-chan's help," said Ryoko as Kyoko nodded her head. That is why I have them here training, said Natasha as he turns back to Heimdall. The others have left on a code Naruto as things had turned for the worst on her first mission out of the village. But, with what you have told me, it makes sense now. Heimdall nodded his head as his eyes glazed over. It appears Sabertooth has left the land of Wave and is heading to a new location, he told Natasha as she raised an eyebrow. I'm guessing Lord Odin is allowing you to tell me this? Asked Natasha. Heimdall nodded his head. Yes, but this is all I'm allowed to tell you. For this is to just put your mind to ease, he said as he turned to leave. I will inform Fury that your team will be staying until after the Chunin exams, which he will be coming to see. With that he was gone. Logan looked around the area they were all standing. Do they live in the woods or something? He asked Natasha. No silly, we live in a hidden village, said Kyoko as Ryoko giggled. Just then Jiraiya and Tsunade appear in front of them in a swirl of leaves. They look at the newcomers. Peter, I expect you on your best behavior while you are here training, said Tsunade to the young man before her. Yes ma'am, said Peter. Loki, that goes for you as well, and as well as for you Logan. I do not wish to be going to war over anything you two do while in my village, said Tsunade as she glared at the two men. Yeah, whatever lady, I'll keep the damage to a minimum, said Logan as he looked away. Whatever do you lean, Tsunade? I'll be at my best behavior while I'm here, said Loki as he gave her one of his devilish smiles. She glared at the man. That is what I am afraid of, said Tsunade as she turned to walk into the house as the twins run up to her. Mommy, you're home early from work, said Ryoko as Kyoko nodded her head in agreement. She looked down at her daughters and smiled. I have left several shadow clones to finish up my paperwork, she told her daughters as they both grinned. We can't wait to learn the shadow clone, Ryoko and Kyoko said as one. Oh no, you two will not learn those clones. Not until you are both Chunin level and Jonin level shinobi. I will not have you two running around this village raising hell, said Jiraiya as he glared at both his daughters. Your father is right. All my Anbu will quiet if you two are able to make shadow clones, said Tsunade as he opens the door to the house and the others followed her in. It appears that you run this village, Lady Tsunade? Asked Colossus as he walked behind the others. Yes, I was talked into taking over for our old sensei. He wanted to spend his golden years just playing with his grandson and just advising me on matters of the village and shinobi, said Tsunade as she walked into the kitchen and made tea for everyone as they all went and sat at the large dining room table. Land of Wave Bandit came one. Naruto made several shadow clones and had them all scout of the camp. She found in the far northeast corner where all the women had been held and several tents to the north with women chained to beds. But luck was with them, all the bandits were either passed out drunk or asleep in their tents, with just a few keeping the fire going and keeping watch. She figured there was about 15 men awake now, and her clones went to work quickly taking the men out and hedging into them after setting their bodies on fire. Okay, my clones have taken the places of the bandits keeping watch, and we are at luck. All the woman is alone, and the bandits will be easy to take out, said Naruto. Just then they heard something coming from the bushes. They all turned, pulling their weapons out, getting ready to attack whoever was coming out of the bushes. Just then Sasuke fell out of the bushes. He was all cut up from the thorns and had leaves sticking out of his hair. What in hell are you doing here? Demanded Naruto as she was ready to kill the boy before her. I have every right to be here, and I need to get stronger, growled out Sasuke, believing she will allow him to take part. Oh, he sadly mistaken as Hinata hit his pressure point on his neck, knocking him out. We don't have time for his bullshit, said Hinata as the others nodded their heads. Naruto made a quick clone and had it return Sasuke to Kakashi and to give him an earful. With that, Team X vanished into the shadows as explosions rocked the camp and all was heard where the dying men's was screams. Deadpool had found his way to where the women were chained to the beds. He removed his mask and walked into the first time. The woman there was crying. Please, please don't RPE me, she cried to him. Miss, I am not here to hurt you. I am here to free you. As well, I could never do that to a woman, said Deadpool as he found the keys on a hook near the doorway and grabbed them. Please cover yourself up," he told her as he grabbed a blanket from the corner and handed it to her. He made quick work and unchained her. "There is a young blonde hair girl in the woods just to your left. She is with a pink hair girl. They will treat you and help you back to the village." With that said, Deadpool left the tent to go to the next until all the women were free. Clint looked at the caged woman and children. "I am here to set you free. To the left in the woods are 2 girls. They will treat you and help you back to the village," he told them all as he cut the locks off with his katanas. They all thanked him and ran into the woods where a Naruto clone stood with Sakura. They both got to work treating everyone. After an hour, the bandit camp was burned to the ground and the bandits were dead. The women and children were being returned to the village to their families and loved ones. "We need to group up with the others and take Gato out tonight. If we wait any longer, he will run, and we will lose our chance to stop him for good," said Naruto as she was glaring down at the ground. "The others have finished, and there is a small clearing not far from either camp. Let's regroup and go from there," said Tony. Team H ran into the clearing where they saw Team X all sitting and drinking water. "Did everything go well?" asked Steve as he walked up to Tony. "Yes, there was no issues." "How about with your group?" asked Tony as he handed a bottle of water to Steve. With a nod, Steve took it. "We only had one issue. One of the bandits took several children hostage, but we got them away safely with the help of Anko-chan's snakes," said Steve as he smiled at Anko. Tony just nodded his head. "Rest up. We will be leaving to handle Gato shortly," said Deadpool. His voice had something in it that no one had ever heard from him. Something that made the others want to finally follow him into battle. Naruto took out her MP3 player out and put in her earpieces and flipped thought the songs until she found the one she was looking. Adam Calhoun's Die Tonight. She nodded her head to the others as they vanished into Gato's compound. The others knew once she had her music playing SHT was going to go down. With a flash of crimson, she vanished down a hallway lined with thugs leading to Gato's office. She was going to be the one that killed the troll. No one was going to take that from her. Because behind her all the thugs fell to the ground dead as heads fell to the ground and others fell in half. They never knew what hit them. Their deaths were quick. Something that was to go for them. But she couldn't rise them, alerting the others in Gato's office. Inside of Gato's office. "Where is that BSTRD Sabertooth?" questioned Gato as he looks over to his bodyguards. "He left hours ago to take care of Zabuza and the old man. But who knows, maybe Zabuza killed him," said Thug One. A man and woman sat on the couch just laughing. "That DMN cat isn't loyal to no one. So, I am shocked he was willing to work with you in the first place," said the laughing man. Gato glared at the man before him. "Then get off your butt and kill that BSTRD I'm paying for your little group to handle," he growled out. "Don't talk to Mr. J that way," said the woman as she pointed a larger-than-life gun at the troll behind the desk. "You work for me, so you do as I say," growled out Gato. "He has some large ball to talk to my Harley that way," thought the Joker as he just smirked at his lovely girlfriend. Just as Harley was going to fire her gun at the little troll, the double doors leading into the office blow up off the door frame, and there stood a teenage blonde with striking blue eyes anyone had ever seen. Her eyes narrow as she saw 2 of Gotham's most wanted sitting in this BSTRD office. "Who the hell are you?" yelled Gato as he was now standing on his desk. He failed to see his 2 thugs by the door lay dead, and the 2 on the couch had stood up. But they looked to be moving over to the windows. "Joker, Harley, it has been a while. What brings you to my neck of the woods?" asked Naruto as she didn't care what the troll was doing. Joker smirked. "Oh, you know, Bats is on vacation or something and we figured we'd go on a sightseeing trip," he said as he was looking at his gloved hand. "We truly need a vacation from all the drama going on in Gotham right now," said Harley as she grinned at her fellow blonde. "SHT is getting real if these 2 are here. We need to find out how they got here," growled out Kurama in rage. He wasn't liking this little surprise whatsoever. The last time they faced those 2, they came out of the fight pretty messed up. Tsunade thought she was going to be burying the girl that night. "Well, Harley, I believe it is our time to leave. The land of the wave was lovely, but we need to get back," said the Joker as he throws a bomb at the window, and with that they had vanished. Smoke filled the room and Naruto coughed from the smoke. Her eyes widened in horror as the smoke was laced with one of Joker's laughing gas. Quickly her iron suit over to her body. Jarvis, tell Tony Joker was here and I need to antidote to that butt laughing gas, she told Jarvis. Understood, said Jarvis. Naruto scanned the room as the smoke cleared, and there on the desk was Gato dead with a large smile on his face. Damn it, yelled Naruto. She turned and walked out of the office and sat down in the long hallway awaiting the others as Kurama went to fight the DMN laughing gas. Kit, we are going to have to stalk every shinobi from the village with the antidote. If we have any hope of surviving whatever that BSTRD has planned, said Kurama as he was doing his best to fight it. He still needs a little help to fight it. But one day he and Naruto will never be affected by it. The others come running down the hallway as they see Naruto in her iron suit still sitting on the ground. Tony pulled a scroll out and unsealed the medication he needs for the Joker's laughing gas. But also, before giving it to Naruto, he took a sample of her BLD as her armor went back into the seal at the base of her neck. So, what Jarvis just told me? Joker and Harley are here and what he heard from the seal Sabertooth is here as well, questioned Tony as he took a soft look at the girl before him. Sighing, Naruto leaned her head back on the wall. Yeah, those BSTRD are here. Something happened in Gotham and Bats is missing, she told the others as they look at her. Well, the BSTRD made our job a little easier by killing the little BSTRD, said Deadpool as he walks into the office and looks the little troll over. There before him laid Gato with white face paint and crimson lips with a huge grin across his lips. Naruto glared at Deadpool and then just sighed. Yeah, I guess so. But now let's get into cleaning this place out and return what rightfully belongs to the people of the Land of Waves, she said as they went to work, and Naruto slowly stood up and walked over to the vault. The others watched Naruto as she was standing before the vault. They all worried about her. With those two around, things are going to push the girl to train even harder and push her to her breaking point once more. Deadpool walked up to Naruto and pulled her into a hug. "SHH, Princess, Daddy Pool is here for you. I will make sure nothing will happen to you," he said as he held the girl. Naruto buried her face into Deadpool. She didn't want to cry. But once more those two proved to her that is too weak when it comes to them. Her shoulders slowly began to shake as she began to cry. She couldn't help herself. Those two always left her feeling that way. She was just glad that the Green Goblin hasn't teamed up with them just yet. They made quick work and sealed away the whole office and items in the vault. Shockingly enough, they found a lot of the Uzu scrolls and treasure within the vault, and Naruto, as the last heir to her clan, it all belongs to her. In the leaf. Tsunade sitting in her office doing paperwork as a photo of Naruto fell off her desk and shared. She stopped what she was doing and pulled out a lotto ticket, and she had won. "No, Nuo, something bad has happened," she said just above a whisper as the others in the office looked at her. "What's wrong, Mommy?" asked Ryoko and Kayoko. Without looking at them, she pulled out her cell phone and dialed up Tony. Tazuna's house. Naruto curled up on the couch. Her body was killing her. From her father's jutsu, and that butt poisoning her once more. All she wanted to do was curl up with her pillow and sleep. Just then a ringing is heard, and everyone in the house looks over at Tony as he pulled out his cell phone to see who's calling him. He sighed as he saw it was Tsunade. She had a thing about her when she knew something bad happened to her family and loved ones. "Hello, Tsunade," said Tony as Tazuna, Zabuza and Haku looked on with wide eyes. "Don't hello me. What has happened to Naruto? Don't you dare lie to me," growled out Tsunade from the other end of the line. Tony just sighed once more. Joker and Harley are here, and Naruto was exposed to his laughing gas once more. But I took a BLD sample before giving her the antidote for it, he told the woman. "What the hell? How are they here?" screamed Tsunade as her kai was felt over the phone. "We don't know. We are as shocked as you are. It's just lucky I keep the antidote with me at all times," said Tony as he had put Tsunade on speakerphone for his ears couldn't handle her screaming. "Get back at once when the mission is finished. I will need that BLD sample to see if I can come up with something that can be given to everyone to prevent the effects of that DMN gas," ordered Tsunade as she hung up the phone. Sasuke had came downstairs from upstairs when he heard all the screaming. "What the hell is going on and what's wrong with Dope?" he asked, not to understand what had just happened. "Sasuke, why don't you go to the kitchen and eat?" suggested Kakashi as his eyes smiled at the boy. "Whatever," said Sasuke as he glared at Naruto. "This just proves my point. She is too weak to be a shinobi," he said as he walked into the kitchen. Hinata and Sakura had to jump on Naruto to stop her from going and killing the last loyal Uchiha of Konoha. "He isn't worth it," said Hinata as she hugged her sister and best friend. "She is right. He is the one that is weak," said Sakura as she glared at the back of the duck butt hair boy. "Leaf. This isn't good," said Tsunade as she was biting her thumbnail. Mitashia took this time to speak. "What happened on the mission?" "Joker and Harley showed up and poisoned Naruto once again," said Tsunade as she let out a sigh. "This isn't good." She was depressed for a while after that last time. It took them about a month to get her out of her room. She didn't even go to school during that time, she thought to herself as she sat back down. 2 weeks later. The group had left the land of Wave and Tazuna named the bridge after her. This just PSS off Sasuke even more. Zabuza got his payday and sent some of the money back to Kiri to help with the rebuild and chose to follow this little girl before him. Something about her. Something that he couldn't quite place his finger on. But all he knew was he wanted to be there to see what all she would be able to do. It was like history in the making, and he wanted to take part in it. He wanted to say that he was there when it happens. The large group stood before the south gates of the village. There waiting for them was Tsunade with the twins and the others that had arrived while they had been away. "Naru!" yelled Peter as he ran to his best friend and sister. Naruto grinned as she ran up to him and jumped into his arms, hugging him. "Peter, oh my god, when did you get here?" asked Naruto as she smiled. He smiled. "I got here the day you left for your first official C-rank mission," he said while making air quotes. She smiled and laughed at his little joke. "Yeah, it was C-rank until Joker team showed up and bumped it to S-rank," she growled out. A dark aura overtook her as she was sulking once more. "That is enough of acting like that DMN brat on your team," said Tsunade as she punched Naruto, sending her flying into Deadpool. She glared at her grandmother. "What the hell, grandma?" she growled out. She didn't care that the woman before her was her boss now. Tsunade narrowed her eyes at the girl. "Don't you dare act out, brat. I will beat your butt like I did last time, and no one will be stopping me this time," she growled out. Naruto met her glare, never stepping down from the older blonde before her. "You got lucky last time. I was hurt," she said as she was getting ready for a full-out fight right then and there. "All right, ladies. You both need a timeout," said Deadpool as he came up from behind Naruto and grabbed her into a bear hug and held onto the girl for dear life. Naruto sighed as she looked down to the ground. "I'm sorry," she said just above a whisper. "What was that you said, brat?" asked Tsunade with a knowing smirk on her lips. Naruto glared at her once more. "I said I'm sorry. Did you hear me now?" she yelled. Nothing more was said as they made their way to the Hokage tower. While the others were gone, Tsunade had enough with trying to get more honest people on the civilian council and just did away with it altogether. This just added more work to the clan heads. She didn't care. They needed a little more to do. A lot of them were just getting lazy, and this would keep them on their DMN toes. So alright folks, that's all for today. Stay tuned for part 4. Do subscribe, like and share for more such videos. Also check out the story and author AngelFallenDemon on FANFICTIONnet. Press the bell icon to be notified first on release. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye.